The radar operator stares at his screen. 3 contacts, then 5, then 9. Moving fast, moving low, they are not friendly. Somewhere over the Pacific, a decision is being made. Not in a war room, not yet, but in the cold mathematics of air defense range, reaction time, and kill probability. A general somewhere is running numbers he doesn't like. His fighters are fast. His missiles are long-ranged. But the equation is slipping away from him. Because what he does not know, what he cannot see, cannot track, cannot target, is already in the air. And it has been watching him for 40 minutes. This is not a story about stealth. Stealth is just the beginning. This is the story of how one aircraft became the most argued over, most expensive, most misunderstood combat platform in aviation history, and how, despite every controversy, every cost overrun, every political firestorm, it quietly became the backbone of Allied air power across the globe. The problem started with walls falling and oceans shrinking. When the Soviet Union collapsed, American defense planners made a comfortable assumption. The air dominance the United States had built through the Cold War would hold. The threats were manageable. The gaps were acceptable. That assumption aged poorly. Through the 90s and into the 2000s, the calculus began to shift. Russia was rebuilding its aerospace industry around a new generation of aircraft and, more importantly, a new generation of surface-to-air missiles. The S-300 family was already operational. The S-400 was in development. These were not systems designed to shoot down Cold War-era jets. They were designed to neutralize the aircraft that had replaced them. Long engagement ranges, high-altitude reach, digital integration with fighter aircraft that could now carry missiles fired from beyond visual range with frightening reliability. China was moving faster than most Western analysts wanted to admit. Money from 2 decades of economic growth was flowing into military aviation. New fighters, new radars, new weapons. A defense industrial base that had once produced copies was beginning to produce originals. Meanwhile, the United States Marine Corps needed a replacement for the aging Harrier, a jet that could take off from small ships and austere airstrips. The Navy needed a carrier-capable strike fighter that could survive modern air defenses. The Air Force needed a multi-role aircraft that could penetrate contested airspace and come home. 3 services, 3 fundamentally different requirements, 1 aircraft. That was the idea. That was the ambition. And it was an idea that many considered, quite reasonably, to be impossible. The F-35 Lightning II did not arrive looking like a revolution. It is not a beautiful aircraft by traditional standards. It does not carry the elegant sweep of the F-22 or the angular brutalism of the B-2. It looks, to the uninformed eye, slightly ordinary. Thick-bodied and with a single engine where some expected 2, its weapons are carried internally, invisible, locked away behind flush doors. On the ramp, it looks almost modest. That modesty is deliberate. Every curve on its surface exists for a reason that has nothing to do with aesthetics and everything to do with the physics of radar cross-section reduction. Where the F-117 achieved stealth through flat angled panels that looked like folded paper, the F-35 achieved it through sophisticated shaping combined with radar-absorbent materials baked into the airframe itself. The result is an aircraft that does not look like a stealth platform because it does not need to announce what it is. But stealth, again, is only the beginning. What makes this aircraft fundamentally different is what happens inside the cockpit and outside it. The jet is, at its core, a sensor fusion node. Its active electronically scanned array radar can track dozens of targets simultaneously while mapping terrain, detecting threats, and classifying emissions. Its distributed aperture system, 6 infrared cameras stitched together around the airframe, gives the pilot the ability to look through the floor of the aircraft and in every direction simultaneously. The pilot does not look at a display, the pilot wears the display. The helmet fuses all sensor inputs and projects them directly onto the visor. Target data, threat data, navigation, weapon status are all projected so the world is redrawn in layers of information, invisible to everyone who is not inside it. And then there is the data link. Every F-35 in a formation shares what it sees with every other F-35. A pilot at the edge of detection range can share a targeting solution with a wingman 30 miles away. That wingman can fire on a target he has never seen with his own sensors. The network becomes the weapon, and the individual aircraft becomes a node in something larger. This was not how air combat was designed, and it is not how adversary doctrine is written to counter. That gap between what this aircraft does and what an opposing commander assumes it does is where the strategic advantage actually lives. Picture a scenario where a commander in a sophisticated air defense environment has been watching his radar screens go quiet. Not because the Americans have not launched, they have, but the tracks are not resolving. His long-range surveillance radars are picking up anomalies, ghost contacts, edge detections, brief signatures that vanish before a firing solution can be established. His fighter controllers are reporting emissions they do not recognize, and his ground-based missile systems are failing to establish the lock sequences their software was designed to achieve. He is not facing invisible aircraft. He is facing aircraft that appear at the edge of detection as problems, as errors, as noise, as something his system was not designed to process cleanly. The geometry of engagement keeps shifting before it resolves, and his interceptors are being vectored toward contacts that are not where his radar says they are by the time the fighters arrive. Meanwhile, in a cockpit 200 miles away, a pilot has already designated 6 targets. He has shared that targeting data with 2 surface ships and 3 more aircraft. He is painting an electromagnetic picture of the entire air defense network. The radar frequencies, the communication nodes, the missile battery positions, and transmitting it in real time to a strike package. His adversary is reacting while the American pilot is composing. That difference, reactive versus compositional, is the fundamental shift in air power this aircraft represents. Legacy aircraft brought firepower and speed to an engagement. This aircraft brings situational awareness so complete that the engagement can often be decided before it becomes kinetic at all. Targets are selected, communications are jammed, defenses are mapped and exploited, all before a single missile leaves a rail. And the enemy never gets a clean shot, because the pilot who has been watching him for 40 minutes never gave him one. The consequences of this aircraft extend beyond any single engagement or theater of operation. When a nation integrates the F-35 into its air force, it is not buying an airplane, it is buying a position in a network. The aircraft's Link 16 and MADL data links connect seamlessly with American command and control architecture. An Allied pilot flying an F-35 can share targeting data with American ships, American aircraft, and American ground forces. The shared picture extends across the coalition, and the situational awareness becomes collective. This has a political dimension that cannot be separated from the military one. When Japan, Australia, Norway, Israel, South Korea, and the Netherlands all operate the same platform with the same data links and the same sensor architecture, the alliance ceases to be a collection of separate air forces with compatible equipment. It becomes, in practical terms, a single networked air arm. Interoperability at that level changes what coalitions can accomplish and how quickly they can accomplish it. For potential adversaries, the calculation is uncomfortable. Challenging one nation that operates this aircraft means, in effect, challenging the network. The aircraft that appears over your radar horizon is not flying alone. It never is. This has forced a genuine doctrinal shift in how rival militaries approach air defense. The old model of building long-range radars, buying long-range missiles, and fielding interceptor aircraft with powerful radars and beyond visual range missiles was designed to defeat aircraft it could see and track. An aircraft that degrades detection, suppresses emissions, shares targeting data before a weapon's release, and never presents a clean radar cross-section breaks that model. The response has been investment in lower-frequency radar systems in the VHF and UHF bands that exploit the aircraft's larger signature at longer wavelengths. Investment in infrared search and track systems that do not rely on radar emissions at all has also increased. Investment in passive detection has grown as well. These are real countermeasures, and they are being developed seriously, but they also require the adversary to invest enormous resources in solving a problem they did not have before this aircraft existed. That resource diversion has its own strategic consequences. An arms race built around defeating one specific threat is an arms race that the designer of that threat is already winning. The program has not been without problems. The costs are real, and the development delays were significant. The weight issues that plagued early variants, The software integration challenges and the congressional hearings were all part of that story. Critics who raised those concerns were not wrong to raise them. But the aircraft that is flying today in large numbers with Allied air forces across 3 continents is not the troubled prototype of the early development years. Block software upgrades have expanded the weapons suite, sharpened the radar modes, and improved the fusion algorithms. The aircraft is a software platform as much as an airframe, and its capabilities are not fixed but grow. The B variant in its short takeoff vertical landing configuration has restored a capability lost when the Harrier retired. Small deck ships can now operate a stealth-capable, network-connected strike aircraft. The geographic flexibility that creates runs directly counter to base-focused basing assumptions that potential adversaries have built their targeting plans around. You cannot hold at risk a base that is not being used. Future block upgrades will add capability in the electronic warfare domain, extend the weapons envelope, and integrate new standoff munitions. The platform itself is designed to evolve with processing power that allows capabilities that do not exist yet to be added through code rather than metal. The question the program always faced was not whether it was expensive, it was whether it was expensive relative to the alternative. The alternative of allies operating aging non-networked, non-stealthy aircraft, while adversaries develop increasingly capable air defense systems, has a cost too. That cost does not appear in an acquisition budget. It appears in a crisis when a commander is running numbers he does not like, and the math is moving against him. The aircraft that changed that math did not announce itself, and it does not announce itself now. Somewhere over a coastline, a radar operator does not recognize a contact, while a pilot has been watching and building a picture. The pilot is sharing that picture with someone the radar operator will never know was there. The radar operator is reacting. He already lost.